So now we're gonna deal with an example with command buttons and action events. So we're gonna use the class JButton, and to do that we already created the Java projects here and we created the label frame. So we're gonna go to Visual Studio Code and we are gonna go to Explorer. We are gonna go to create Java project, and yeah, this one, no build tools, and we already have the Java folder. I have it here in my desktop. So yeah, I'm gonna pick that, and we already have the label frame. So I'm gonna select this project location, and now I'm gonna name it. So we need to get a name for this. So it's gonna be just button frame. Okay. And as you can see, we created the button frame, and it has the visual VS Code. So we have the JSON, the settings.json. We have the, let me close this one, we have the lib, and we have the source. We have this Java stuff, and it's gonna say hello world. So we're gonna update it or just delete this little file here, or this particular file, and just to make sure it works. Yeah, it does hello world. Yeah, that's fine. And if we go into the Java folder, now we're gonna have the label frame and the button frame. Okay, so let's close this one, and we're gonna go inside of the source, and let me see, new file. So we're gonna name it the button frame.java. Okay, save it, and let's just delete the app. So we're gonna have the button frame, and it already does it for us. So we have the public class button frame. Okay, and before that, what we are gonna do is we are gonna import. So we're gonna, let me see, we're gonna import java that awt that flow layout. Okay, so we're gonna import yeah, let's just type it in, import java that awt that event that action event, action listener. Okay, event that action listener. We're gonna also import java that awt that event that action event. Okay, we have 3 so far. So now we're gonna have the javax. So it's gonna be import javax that swing that jframe. Okay, that swing that jframe. So we're gonna have the import javax that swing that JButton. So it's gonna be JButton. We're gonna have the import javax that swing that icon, semicolon at the end. So we have the JButton, we have the icon, we have the import javax that swing that image icon, semicolon at the end. Then finally we're gonna have the import javax that swing that JOptionPane, semicolon at the end. Okay, so this is all that we are gonna import, and this is not gonna be a very lengthy video, very long video. Okay, so we have the Java, the javax, AWT, swing. We have the public class, a button frame that extends that extends JFrame. Okay, and now we're gonna have in our private JButton, so the button with just text. So we're gonna have the private JButton, and it's gonna be plain button like that. And before we continue, I have a couple of GIF images, so I'm just gonna grab these two GIF images, and I'm just gonna take it here to the Java projects, and I'm gonna set it to the button frame. Let me see. So these two has to be inside of the source, so I'm gonna put it inside of the source. Inside, let me see. Yeah, they are both now inside of the source, and these are just some GIF images. So let me see, source, and yeah, I had already shown there. Okay, so we have this plain button, semicolon at the end. We're gonna have in our private again JButton, and it's gonna be fancy button, semicolon at the end, so buttons with icons. Okay, and now we are gonna have the button frame that adds JButtons to JFrames. So it's gonna be our public button frame, open parentheses, and now we're gonna open curly braces. Okay, so we have public button frame, and here, let me see, button frame. So here we're gonna have in super, and inside of the parentheses we're gonna pass in testing button. So it's gonna be testing buttons. Okay, that's fine. Semicolon at the end. So it's gonna be our set layout. So set layout, and inside of the parentheses we're gonna have in our new flow layout, Okay, so set the frame layout. We're gonna have in here plain button, so plain. There should be fancy JButton, and this one plain JButton, so plain JButton. Okay, so the plain JButton, we're gonna set it to the new JButton, and inside of the parentheses we are gonna pass in plain button, semicolon at the end. And let me see, this is the button with text, so we're gonna add, and inside of the parentheses we're gonna have in plain text. And no, this is not what I wanted. Open parentheses, and now we are gonna have in our plain JButton, so plain JButton, semicolon at the end. Okay, so we are gonna have the icon. We're gonna name it PJS, and PJS to PJS. Okay, so we're gonna set it to new. We're gonna set it to new image. We're gonna set it to new image icon, and inside of the parentheses we're gonna get class. So we're gonna get class that get resource. Okay, get the resource, and inside of the parentheses we are gonna pass in. I'm gonna pass in the PJS that PNG. PJS that GIF, like that. And see semicolon at the end, but let me see if I didn't mess up. So icon PJS new image icon, so it's gonna be the get class that get the resource, and yeah, that's fine. So yeah, that's fine so far. Okay, so let's just copy, let's just close this one and let's copy and paste it. So Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and this one should be PJS2 and this one will be JS2. Okay, so now we're gonna have the fancy JButton, and we're gonna set it to new image icon. So the new image new JButton. So new JButton. So the new JButton, we're gonna open parentheses, and inside of the parentheses we're gonna have in the fancy button as the first argument, and the second argument is just gonna be the PJS. Let me see, semicolon at the end. This is gonna set the image, and we don't have the error here, so we're gonna do the same for the PJS2. Okay, so yeah, first of all we're gonna go fancy JButton. So fancy JButton that set roll over icon, this one, set rollover icon, and we're gonna pass in PJS2. So this is gonna set rollover image. So now we're gonna add the fancy JButton. Okay, so this is gonna add the fancy JButton to the JFrame, and now we're gonna create. Okay, so we're gonna go below and we are gonna create new button handler for button event handling. So we're gonna have the button handler handle handler, and we're gonna set it to new button. Let me see, new button handler. Okay, so we're gonna set it to the new button handler, semicolon at the end. So this button handler, here we're gonna have the fancy JButton that add, we're gonna that add action listener. So that add action listener, and inside of the parentheses we're gonna pass in the handler. Okay, so we're gonna have also the plain JButton that add action listener, and we're gonna pass in handler inside of the parentheses. Okay, so this would be the this would be the end of the button frame constructor. So now we're gonna have the inner class for button event handling. So we're gonna have our private class button. So it's gonna be button handler that implements action listener. To the next line we're gonna open curly braces, and now we're gonna have the handle button event. So we're gonna have in our public void, and it's gonna be action perform. So it's gonna be action perform, and we are gonna have the action event inside of the parentheses. We're gonna have in the action event, and then just event, like that. Yeah, to the next line we're gonna open curly braces, and we're gonna have the JOptionPane that show message dialog, okay, and let me see that show message dialog. Okay, so let's leave the parentheses empty, and now we're gonna have the button frame. Okay, the button frame that the second argument would be a string that format, and we're gonna have in the parentheses let me see, format like that, string that format, and let me see, string that format, yeah, inside of the parentheses of the string format, a string that format, we are gonna have in this string, it's gonna be you press colon and then the percent line. Okay, yeah, outside of the we are still inside of the parentheses of the string that format. So as a second argument here would be event that get action command. Okay, and that would be it. So we can save it, and let me see, so this would be the JPane, so this would be the end, this curly braces would be the end of the method action perform. This one would be the end of the private inner class handler, private inner class button handler, and this one would be the end of the class button frame. Okay, so if we click here, nothing is gonna happen because we still need our main method. So we are in the source, and right now we are gonna go here, make sure we are still in the source, and now we're gonna go to new file, and we're gonna have in the button test .java. Okay, so we already have our public class button test, but first we are gonna import javax that swing that test. Import javax that swing that JFrame. Okay, semicolon at the end. Yeah, that's fine. Let me see. So we have the public class button test. We open curly braces, and now we're gonna have our public static void main. Yeah, that's fine. And here we're gonna have the button frame, and we're gonna have button frame. We're gonna set it to new button frame. So this essentially creates the button frame. So now we're gonna use this variable, the button frame. So we're gonna use the button frame that set default close operation. Okay, and inside of the parentheses we're gonna have the JFrame that exit underscore on underscore close. Okay, that's fine. Finally, we're gonna have the button frame that set size, and we're gonna have 275 by 100. Yeah, that's fine. That the width and the height, semicolon at the end. And finally the set this is the button frame, and it's gonna be that set visible, and the boolean is gonna be true. Okay, so you can change the values of the width and the height. So I changed it to 400 by 400, and let's play it now. So this is how it looks, and also you can pretty much make it bigger, smaller. And let's close it and click it again, and as you can see we have the plain button, and then we have this one. So the plain button, and this is the fancy button, the plain button, the fancy button.